Football is nearly back. Ooh, I can't wait. I don't know what that noise was, to be honest. It just came out of nowhere. I'm excited. That's what the noise was based on. Excitement. I'm very much looking forward to the season. But of course, that's the real season. Until that first kick of a ball on Friday night, Liverpool versus Bournemouth, it's silly season. It's the transfer news. So there's lots of bollocks to contend with, unfortunately. And that's what I'm going to do in this video. Make sure you're tuning in for the friendly, though. Tomorrow night, watch along. Palermo. I can't wait for that one as well. We're going to see lots of experiments from Pep Guardiola, the puppeteer of Manchester City, doing his thing, pulling strings, seeing what formations and what personnel can be played against Palermo, and therefore going into the Premier League season, which is incredibly exciting. But before we get into the nonsense rumours, one rumour that's got a little bit of legs to it. But before we get into that,
let's go.
Purchase a match bingo card for an upcoming game and receive a card that contains 15 random events like offsides, corners, VAR, goals, and if those events take place during the match, your card will automatically fill up as you play. Win cash prizes by filling 1 line, 2 lines, or a full house to bag yourself the grand prize. UK customers only. So big up to Match Bingo. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Right, first rumour. Carlos Baleba, the source. ESPN. Straight away you were like, it's bollocks. The Mirror caught on it as well. The Mirror's headline was, Man United suffer Carlos Baleba transfer blow as rivals eye up 104 million Brighton star. That being Manchester City is the rival they are talking about. Yeah, I mean, it's utter nonsense. An amazing player, there's no denying the quality of the player, but I mean, come on, man, you look at the squad. Look at the latest news. Kovacic has been reported to be staying at Manchester City. I'm going to talk about that later in the video as well. Gundogan is the only player that could possibly leave. I'm watching him in the pre-season open training session. He was bloody brilliant. He looked fresher than ever, did Ilkay Gundogan. We've got a whole host of midfielders that can play in that particular position. So while Carlos Baleba is an absolutely fantastic player, and yes, I would love Manchester City to sign him maybe in the future, a year down the line, explore those options. We've got Rodri, we've got Reinders, we've got Kovacic, we've got Nico Gonzalez, we've got Ilkay Gundogan. You could put a few other players that we already have in there. John Stones has played that role. Akanji can play that role. Rico Lewis can play that role. Nunes could probably play that role. He did do last season. I mean, there's nearly a starting 11 there that you could play in that particular role, and we're going to add Carlos Baleba to it, are we? No, we're not. No, we're not. Next. The biggest bollocks rumour for me, this is the biggest one, because he's the biggest human, actually. Donnarumma. He's monstrous, isn't he? Pretty large individual, and it's a large pile of nonsense that have been spouted out there into the media. This is not just Football Italia's fault, by the way, but they're clearly not doing their homework. Continuing the rumour. Have you noticed I've not mentioned him once? Not once on this channel all summer. The links have been there, by the way, all summer. Have you watched Manchester City play football? Have you watched the way we play? We don't have a shot-stopping priority goalkeeper. The priority, which some people disagree with, fine if you disagree with it, but the priority is a ball-playing goalkeeper at Manchester City. It's kind of essential. Look at Edison. James Trafford. We've just signed him. That was then backed up by David Ornstein, one of the most reputable journalists out there, stating that Manchester City intend to keep Edison. Ortega is the goalkeeper that's leaving, so again, scrunch that one up, throw that one in the bin. Donnarumma is nowhere near. I don't even think he's a target, because it says Pep Guardiola admires him and he's a big fan. Everyone's a big fan of everyone in football. We're all big fans. You know what I mean? That means nothing. Is he actually a suitable candidate for Manchester City? No, he's not. Great goalkeeper, fantastic shot stopper. And if we get a new manager further down the line that has a completely different style of football, doesn't want to play out from the back, which isn't going to happen, by the way. I'm pretty sure we're going to keep going down this road that Pep's laid the foundations of. I just don't think Manchester City are ever going to go for a keeper like this. Certainly not while Pep's at the club. Not a chance. Right, on to the next rumour that's got a bit of legs to it. Again, I'm not convinced this is certainly not going to happen this summer. No way is this going to happen this summer. But Rudy Galletti, exclusive. RB Leipzig defender Castello Lukeba has emerged as a target for Manchester City. The club has started contacts to explore the potential terms of the deal. Now, again, the one thing I thought when I woke up this morning was, you know what we need? You know what we need? We need another centre-back. We need another centre-back. That's what we need. Because it's not like we've got 800 of them already. You know what I mean? Bloody hell, man. How many centre-backs do we need? Like, again, not really doing your research as to what Manchester City have, what is currently the realistic targets for Manchester City. I do think there's a possibility we could look at this player further down the line. I think he's a brilliant player, by the way. A 22-year-old absolute beast of a left-footed, which I think is key why he could be a potential suitor for Manchester City in the future, because I think Nathan Ake is probably on his way out of the club. I doubt this summer, maybe next. Then it becomes a bit more of a realistic possibility. The guy has a €90 million release clause, but release clauses nowadays seem to be shat on by a lot of clubs. They never seem to come into play as much anymore. We saw that with Morgan Gibbs-White. We saw it with Josko Vardiol. You know, we didn't pay what was required. In the end, we ended up spending 70 million rather than the rumoured 100 million that it was supposed to be. You know, I imagine we would do the same for Castello Lukeba further down the line. Yeah, possible. A left-sided centre-back, I think it'd be brilliant. Juma Bar as well. We've got him already, don't forget. So what would that mean for the future of Manchester City with Lukeba and Juma Bar, two absolute beasts at centre-back? That obviously spells the end for Ruben Diaz, but hasn't he just signed a new contract? You know, we've got John Stones, who said he's not going anywhere in a recent interview with the open training session, saying he's not going anywhere. Akanji is the only realistic candidate. Kusanov's staying. Vardiol's one for the future. So's Husanov. You know, Juma Bar, he's for the future. I think Ruben Diaz signing the contract that he signed, we forget that he's still only 28. He's still in his peak years, Ruben Diaz. And I think he's still got plenty of years ahead of him to get even better. People sleep on Diaz, man. I think he had a bad season last season, as did the whole team. But I actually think Ruben Diaz, if he gets somewhere to near his best in prior seasons, then yeah, what a fantastic, brilliant decision it was to give him a new contract. Because I think he's a leader. He's a proper football defending, out-and-out defending centre-back for me. That I think we need more of that. And one that isn't prioritising ball playing, because he can do that, but one that puts his neck on the line, comes away at the end of the season with a few scars. You know what I mean? That type of defender. We need them. We need them. Of course, this is all followed with the departures, though. What's going on at Manchester City with the departures? Because I think the only two so far that seem likely to actually happen is Jack Grealish, and even that seems a little bit way away. Rumours with Everton and Napoli. Kevin De Bruyne, of course, said maybe, dropping a little bit of a hint out there for everyone to potentially think about the future of Jack Grealish being in a Napoli shirt with Kevin De Bruyne. James McAtee, rumoured to be going to Spurs now, considering James Maddison is out for the foreseeable for the majority of the season. I think that would make sense for Spurs to go for someone like James McAtee. Other than that, the rumours are Kovacic is staying. Gundogan is staying. I'm surprised at Gundogan. And I'm surprised at the backlash of Kovacic staying from the City fans. I get the point with regards to where Kovacic should stand in a ranking at Manchester City. I do think he should be quite low down considering the midfield options we have now. I think Rodri and Reinders are clearly the front two runners for that midfield role, and I think Nico Gonzalez should be behind them. I get the impression Pep Guardiola still wants to sink his claws into Nico Gonzalez in terms of coaching. Learn that particular role is essential to... We saw it with Calvin Phillips where he just flopped. He didn't get it. He didn't get the role. He didn't understand the position well enough to receive the ball from your back line and from your defenders and to play on the half turn, receive it on the half turn, position your body in the correct position to receive the ball so you can turn and away you go. I think Nico Gonzalez has got that in his locker though, and I'm hoping Manchester City have not just repeated a Calvin Phillips mistake. I don't think they have. I think Nico Gonzalez shows a hell of a lot more promise than Calvin Phillips ever did. In the short space of time we've seen Gonzalez, I think he's already shown more than Calvin Phillips ever did in his time at Manchester City, unfortunately. I like the Echeverri situation, though. Even though City, by liking it, I like the fact that he's got this stance where I'm not going anywhere. Apparently, only Girona is what Manchester City want, to send him out to our sister club Girona, send Claudio Echeverri out on loan. I think a lot of City fans want to see him stay. I am curious about the future of Claudio Echeverri because I think there's a potential here for a world-class player. I'm talking elite level, Ballon d'Or nominee level. Maybe not winning it, but nominee. I think he's got that sort of ceiling, Claudio Echeverri. We're talking mega potential here. And the balls on him to say, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying here, commendable. I like it. And I'm sure Pep likes it. I just think he needs to understand that if you don't get your way, accept it. If you don't get the minutes you think you're going to get at Manchester City and you think you deserve, you need to have patience. Lots of people are frustrated and want to throw these players in at the deep end. Pep Guardiola did exactly the same thing with Phil Foden. He slowly bedded him in. Slowly but surely, Phil Foden became the player he became. Certainly we saw the peak, or the recent peak, of Phil Foden in the 23-24 season. Prior to that, it was slow and steady. Just sprinkle him in. A little bit of game time there, a little bit of game time here. You know, Echeverri needs to be the exact same approach. Just not throwing him straight into the deep end, which I know a lot of City fans want to see. But I think that could actually ruin your career. You know, you've got to be careful with these youngsters because it is such a high octane and high pressure environment. You have to be slow and steady. But ultimately, I'm excited about the potential season for Manchester City going ahead. The departures is a little bit of a concern because I did think we were going to see Gundogan going and then maybe we could see a sneaky little right back being brought in. I still have hopes that Manchester City can do something in that right back department because it's an incredibly obvious, glaring weak spot that we have going into this season. And if that meant Ilkay Gundogan going to make way for it, because I think we've got a surplus of requirements in that particular position in midfield, I think it makes sense. But if Gundogan's staying, but if it's the Gundogan of the previous stint at Manchester City before he went to Barcelona, then yes, I'll have that Gundogan, please, all day long. But if it's last season's Gundogan, that's a different version of Gundogan we're talking about. But training session, I thought it was really good. But Blues, let me know your thoughts. Make sure you come and follow me and make sure you're coming and tuning in for the Palermo pre-season friendly as well. Something to get really excited about with the real season following this game next week. I can't wait for it. Can you? Let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.